Hey everyone, it's your boy, back with more Morning Voice, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use 5 machines from the Contraptions DLC in Fallout 4. So those machines are going to be the hopper, the sorter, the component sorter, then not that wire, the conveyor storage, and the vacuum hopper. So basically everything in the miscellaneous category in your workshop. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the hopper. The hopper is undoubtedly the most important part of any conveyor system because it'll automatically put the items on it for you. So to use the hopper, you just open up its inventory, pressing X when you're on the Xbox, throw a bunch of stuff into it, and it'll start outputting it. You can alter the amount of time and the amount of force on a terminal, but I don't choose to do that because it's hard. Now, the hopper can actually snap to some things. I've noticed it'll snap to those floors up there, and I don't understand why it snaps to nothing else. Now, one thing is normal conveyor belts don't snap to it, so you're gonna have to fidget with it until it lines up, and then you want to get one of these little straight short ones to go under it to make sure it catches it all. And although I've aligned this so I believe it goes backwards, it's still, you get the point. Let's move on to the next thing. So we're gonna move on to the normal sorter. Now, something about the sorter is it has to be raw components if you want it to sort. Raw components or like vegetables is what I've determined. So in here I have potatoes, cloth, and fertilizer. So I'm going to put some stuff in the hopper, and you'll see this bag of fertilizer that I just had my cursor on has acid in it, so it's not raw fertilizer. So what's going to be different about this from the component sorter is how it treats that bag of fertilizer. So you can see that these normal fertilizers are going in fine, and because they're selected and they're the raw component, it just works. Excuse me. And so the next thing coming are the potatoes, and they're going through as they should. So now here comes the bag of fertilizer, and remember, it does contain some acid, and you'll see that it rejects it because it's not the raw fertilizer. That's a really important component to this because that's how it's distinguished from the normal component sorter. So this does draw 3 power, and because of this, you're going to have one of these giant things over here. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the component sorter, which looks very similar to the sorter, but it has a different function. So you can see in it we have cloth and fertilizer, and unlike the last one, when I put a bag of fertilizer in there, it's going to sort it. Because although it does have acid, one of its components is fertilizer, and that's a very important difference for how you want your stuff sorted. So you can see the cloth is going to come through just fine, and this one can also do raw items, but it can't do vegetables. That has to be noted. So we're going to see the bag of fertilizer coming, and the fertilizer is already going through, you can see, but the bag of fertilizer does this time, and that is a very important difference. Let me get all of my gains real quick. So to actually use these, just in case you're wondering, you need to go into it by pressing X on Xbox, and you can press A to move stuff. And I recommend just keeping one in there, just to save resources. So this thing does draw 3 power as well, hence the giant power grid. Alright, on to the next one. So this next thing we're looking at is the conveyor storage. As you can see, it doesn't require a set number of power, rather it just requires power to be running through it. So for this to work, what it needs is an input, which is basically the items fed into its conveyor belt. So you can see I have some Instamash from the food processor before it. So now I'm going to throw some stuff to demonstrate how it picks it up, although I don't really think that's necessary. So, although most of it missed, you can see that the cloth that landed on the conveyor belt did in fact go in. So this is pretty useful for collecting things, so it doesn't lag your game. Alright, let's move on to the last thing. Alright, so the last thing we're going to be taking a look at is the vacuum hopper. And this is pretty useful if you know how to use it right. So I set up this little semi-power grid, which is the vacuum hopper, and then a switch leading into it. So what you'd have is the hopper would put out stuff into your storage or whatever device you want it to extract, and you feed power to the vacuum hopper, like so, and it'll start taking stuff out. That's really it. It's good for rerouting stuff. Like if you have an ammunition plant with a bunch of extra components in it, you can use that to clear it. I don't because that's complicated and I'm bad at this game, but you can do that. So there is one drawback about this machine, and once I flip the switch it'll show. Come on, pre-record itself. Flip the switch. There we go. So once you unflip it, they do stay on there. And although it's not a big deal, it will cause some lag. Hopefully this video was somewhat educational and somewhat helpful for your Conveyor DLC, or it at least inspired you to make something cool. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Oh god. I remember I recorded this clip, it's because that dog scared me. Very much, because I was tired. Yeah, so leave anything in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll maybe respond. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.